Scotchman Peak. Early hike in Idaho. Interesting. Okay. So about a 5-mile drive to get up here the last 2 miles. 5-mile drive along a dirt road the last 2 miles, which were bad quality, but wasn't that far. You always, when you put these I put these hikes into GPS, and when I see the last 5 miles is going to take someone 15 minutes, I know it's going to be a dirt road. It's going to be slow. Anyway, 12 kilometers, Scotchman Peak. Give myself 4 hours to do this. It's now cloudy. Was a bit of blue sky when I left Port Ney. So this is, the only hike I'm doing in Idaho. I had planned 2 hikes, Mount Bora and something in Sawtooth Wilderness, but I cancelled Mount Bora because it had already snowed there, and there's a ridge there called Chicken Out Ridge, so it's exposed on both sides, and I thought, if it's icy or snowy, don't want to do that. One thing I have heard about this hike is the amount of mountain goats are here. I do expect to see some mountain goats, and it's not an absolute, but it's one thing I've heard about this hike. Just had a look at All Trails just to see what the hike's like. It's Switchback City. Switchbacks upon switchbacks. Sort of reminds me of what was it called? Cascade Pass and Sahel Trail, or Sahel Arm. Anyway, I don't mind switchbacks. Just gone through 2 kilometers, so a third of the way going up in terms of length, but also we've just gone over 1,000 feet up, so a third of the way there in elevation gain, so about 1,100 meters, roughly 3,000 feet, so a third of the way there, and still going through switchbacks. Trail is good. It's a good trail. There was one you can see here in the past, long past, trees fell across the trail and they just chainsawed them. And there was a tree across the path a little bit further down that you did have to climb. Actually, no, we went around. Anyway, so another switchback. And yeah, third of the way there. Feeling good, although I did take off my jacket. It's getting warm. There is a weather system coming, a cold front. So it tends to be a little bit warmer just before the cold front passage. Plus, cloud cover doesn't act like a blanket. That's a misnomer. Because blankets trap heat. The reason why it's warmer on cloudy nights isn't because clouds trap the heat, it's because clouds radiate heat. So a lot of the heat actually goes through the clouds, but a lot of the heat actually gets radiated back to Earth via the clouds. So clouds do not act like a blanket. Coming to the end of the switchbacks for a while. Lots of switchbacks. Focus on that thing, camera. Anyway, and then it's supposed to move, but it's not moving. Oh, I hate when things don't open. There we go. And now, now we're just going to go follow this ridge. A few more switchbacks before we get to the top. So that's the end of the major switchbacks, looks like. Now we just follow this ridge. Up here somewhere. 2/3 of the way through the hike, 4 kilometers in, and we're just about to start the switchbacks again. So 5 switchbacks now. Here's the first one. Pretty good timing. Yeah, so elevation gain now 2,234 feet. So that 2 kilometre section was a little bit more steep, probably because there was no switchbacks. It's just a straight line up the ridge. Some quite steep sections there. So maybe less to climb in terms of elevation this. So elevation gain would be about 3,000 to 3,300 feet, I think. Anyway, so 2/3 of the way there, past a group of 5, made a joke that they were my bear alert system, they laughed, and they now mentioned there's more people on the trail ahead of them. This sort of area doesn't really concern me when it comes to bears because it's all open. It's only when it's a lot of trees and you can't see around bends, that's when you have to be a little bit more wary. But here, if you're paying attention, there's nothing to be concerned about. Lots of trees down here, look at them all. The wear and tear of being on the side of a mountain, I suppose. Maybe there's a downburst here, microburst or something. Anyway. 5.7 kilometers in, and we're getting close. Looks like it's going to open up. I can see possibility of a peak up there, but trees in our way. Anyway, getting close to the end of this hike. I was concerned about the cloud. At least the mountaintop is not draped in cloud, but the views won't be good here because of the cloud, I think. You can't see anything. Hopefully the cloud will lift soon, but I doubt I'll be lucky. Oh, there is Scotchman Peak. So we can see the go-to spot. Again, yeah, not much use here because of the cloud. So it's good. It's always good to see. That's not 200 meters away. Based off all trails, it's 6.1 kilometers to top of the peak, and we're 5.9 kilometers in. I didn't go off trail, so all trails is wrong. It's way more than 6.1 to the top. That's why I thought maybe up here was the top, because that would have made sense. But then I had a look at the trail and trail map, and that didn't make sense either. Trail, by the way, is really good. Even in this rocky section, it's pretty clear where to go. Close to the peak. All trail is completely wrong. 6.7 kilometers in. It's supposed to be 6.1. Elevation gain about right. I'm off trail. It's over here. Fortunately, clouded in. There's a mountain goat. You can see 2 mountain goats. Okay, let's get to the top. That mountain goat looked at me, said, "You're no threat." Ooh, there's a little shelter. And this is the top. Wow, look at those views. The top might be over there, but couldn't be bothered. Look at the views. 360 cloud. Just going to wait a bit. Have a drink. Who knows, maybe the cloud will clear in the next few minutes. Going back down, I mean, you could wait 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 50 minutes, 5 hours for the cloud to clear, and it may not clear on a day like this, so there's just no point. I knew this could happen. I knew this would happen eventually on this trip. It's already happened a few times, but the solace is, the good thing is, I do know that once this cold front comes through, it's going to scour out, that's a good word, scour out all this more humid air mass, and that's why it's going to be really cold on Monday morning. So the place I'm staying at, 24 degrees, ooh, minus 5 Celsius, ooh. Anyway, so they should scour out all the moisture. It should be beautiful, crystal clear days. Cold but beautiful, crystal clear days. Hike tomorrow could be interesting. I'm doing St. Mary's Peak near Missoula. I'm trying to remember the height of that peak. Anyway, I think there might be a bit of snow. So, could be a snow. I'm going to have to rug up. So, we're actually in the cloud now. You can see the cloud just ahead of me. Anyway, so on the way down, have to add a little bit extra to the distance of the hike because all trails were so wrong. But we're past the rocks, I think. Unless I'm going down the wrong trail. Oh no, there should be more rocks a little bit further on. Anyway, I'm going to skedaddle down, go down quickly. Wind's now picking up too. So it was almost calm on top. And I did take off my coat. Now my hands are starting to get cold. And I went past one person on the way up, overtook 5, and overtook another one just near the top who was obsessed with the mountain goats. And I expect to pass quite a few other people coming up. So let's start going down. Well, we've already started, but you know what I mean. There are hundreds of people coming up. I'm passing people every minute or two. And they all ask the same question. Can we see anything? Here's someone else coming. Can we see anything? Or some people ask about goats. Which means I don't have to be worried about bears or anything like that. Yep, and they asked me, do you see any views up there? They also warned me about a beehive somewhere down here, as the sun briefly comes out. Yeah, there's a beehive, which sort of is interesting because another group of people had a dog, and their dog was bitten by some wasps, they said. So wasps, bees, fairly similar. So I did not see any beehive or wasp nest on the way up, but the guy mentioned it's right near a cairn, which don't know why there's any cairns here, unless he meant something else. And the wind is, you can see actually the wind coming from the south. So there is a bit of uplift here, topography lift. You can see it perfectly there. But I did actually see out from this lower cloud, and there's even separate from this lower cloud, topographic lift low cloud, there's a lot of other cloud out there as well above this lower cloud. In fact, you can sort of maybe not, yeah, the cloud does go up a fair bit. So 2 people have mentioned they were hoping this low cloud was trapped beneath an inversion, which that sort of makes sense, because a lot of times you will see the summit of mountains get above that inversion, so you have beautiful clear skies. But today is not one of those days, because again there's a cold front coming tonight, I think. Just one group of people after the next. So I was one of the first people here. I think I might have been like the second or third. I passed one person coming down near the top, and then I overtook someone near the top. And then there were those 5 people I overtook coming up. So they were together. So yeah, I was the 4th one who started up. 2nd one coming down, 4th one going up. And I would say I've passed 30 to 40 groups. And I can hear a bit of commotion a bit further down. So we're at the first bit of switchbacks. That might have been the second last, I think. Now once we get to the last switchback going down, that's the 4 kilometre marker. So that means there's 4 kilometres to go. So that would make sense based off my watch. Not making as much time because everyone's asking me the same questions about what you can see up there. So I'm telling them all the same thing, you might be lucky. And I did see 2 goats. Okay, because there's so many people coming up, going down is going to take me longer than going up because I am stopping on occasion to speak to some of the people for longer than 10 to 15 minutes. So I just met 3 lovely women from Sandpoint, which is right near where I stayed last night. And one of them, or 2 of them, were twins. And all I said was, "Are you twins?" or something like that, or sisters. And they said, "Yeah, yes. In fact, we're all sisters." And then we just started talking. They asked me about my trip, my favourite spot. I'd mentioned the Eastern Sierras, and they had no clue about that area. Anyway, cloud might have lifted a little bit, so you can actually see through the trees here. So hopefully they'll be able to see a little bit up there. But anyway, still got 4Ks to go. Just done that last switchback now, going down the ridge before we get to lots of the switchbacks. Got a little bit of views here, but you can just see the bases of the cloud still fairly low. I think that's it. No more views. Just looking at the vertical development of that cloud over there. I mean, it sort of makes sense. We're just ahead of a front, so there should be a bit of instability. Anyway, now going down the switchbacks. So about 30 switchbacks. So I just counted them. I counted 27, but I might have missed 1 or 2. So I did it as I was walking. So about 30 switchbacks in about 2 kilometres, I think it is. So what's that? 15 per kilometre. 15 every 100 metres or so. I'll say 80 metres or so. Maybe the best views I'm going to get today. Does look like the cloud is just, the bottom of the clouds or basic clouds have risen just above the top of the ridge lines. So it might be okay up there now, but I'm not going up. And to get this view I had to go off trail just a little bit. Just a little bit, not much. Here we go, here's a switchback. One of many. This sign here is an indication or indicator to me that the hike is almost done and over. And yeah, 13.1 kilometres, so about 1 kilometre longer than All Trail said. A little bit shorter than what I thought at the top. Anyway, so just over 4 hours, about 45 minutes longer than I anticipated, mostly because of talking to people coming or going up as I was coming down, including about 20 minutes talking to these 3 lovely ladies. Anyway, so now on to Missoula. Tomorrow's hike might be really interesting because expecting a bit of snow, so not sure when the snow is going to end, but I could be hiking in snow tomorrow, which is fine with me. It's not one of my, this hike and the hike tomorrow, not the 2 hikes that I was looking forward to the most, so it's just good to get out here and see Idaho. And that's it. Until tomorrow. Probably just as a proof of how many people went up. When I arrived here, that's where I parked right there. There were 4 or 5 cars here. And now they're parked probably all around the corner, even further back. Yeah, so this is a popular hike. Popular hike.